Welcome back to all of you. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST Joor. Students, as in our previous video, we have studied an information regarding the town, traders and the craft persons, in which we have studied about the main administrative centers, temple town and the pilgrimage centers. In that we have studied about the many things related to the medieval period. Although the culture and administration was very impactful, but those who were influenced by it, that were the small towns. So now today in our today's video we will study about these small towns and the traders with few subtopics. The topics are a network of small towns. Number 2, traders, big and small. Number 3, crafts in town. So now let's start with our first topic, that is a network of small towns. Now let's see how the small towns were influenced by the temple towns and the pilgrimage centers. So the small towns which were connected with the temple towns or the capitals usually had a mandapikas or mandi, where nearby villages came to sell their products as potters, sugar makers, smiths and many other artisans. They also had market streets called hattas, which were later known as the haats. Jamidar and the Samans, they built a fortified place in or near that towns for a better settlement and for the tax collection, and even to provide few rights to the merchants for their welfare. They were also collected the tax through the small temples, as they have seen in the big temple towns and the capitals of the big states. In later period, many traders came to the nearby areas and they also started different kinds of activities. They started the trades, they started the craft work, some artisans also came, and different type of activities were happened that nearby the areas which were settled near the small towns, even with the temple towns. So let's see what were the activities and which type of trade has been done by the traders in our next topic, that is traders big and small. Both traders and the craft persons had an important place in the economical activities of the country. During the medieval period, there were several traders, especially horse traders and banjaras. They formed good relation with the headmen of the village, which were known as the mukhias, for their benefits. Traders and merchants of this period were extremely rich and led a prosperous life. Traders who had to travel long distance, passing through many kingdoms and the forest, travelled in caravans and formed galids to protect themselves in the part of Asia and China, as the routes were known as the Silk routes, through which the traders and the craftsperson can go to the other areas to do their trade. But due to some decus and the thieves, they were not protected. So due to that reason, they were forming a kind of caravan in which they were doing their journey in the groups which were known as the caravans or guilds. So students, that was a kind of settlement which was done by the traders to protect themselves from the thieves. Students, in that the Banjaras were also included in the traders, because the Banjaras were also roaming in all the places in search of food, fodder and shelters, and for that they were also doing the different kind of trades, especially the different kind of arts as the handicrafts and some kind of activities as the dance and the different type of activities. Students, some important communities which were trading during that time, these were the Chetis, Marwadis, Oswals and the Gujarati traders. Including them, some Hindu Baniyas and Muslim Bohras were also there. Those were known as their weaving and the different type of textile printings. They traded in the different areas extensively with the port of the Red Sea, Persian Gulf, China and South and East Africa and Southern Asia. Spices and the textile were the main thing to bought gold and ivory from Africa, including it tin, spices, pottery and silver was also there. These all were the main things for trade. Craftsperson of the medieval period were also included in the traders. Indian craftsmen were perfect master in the producing articles of different kind of good quality, as if you have seen in many areas of the medieval period, even the pottery, the art, the sculpture and the temples in which the craftspersons and the artisans were built many things. These were the best example of the art and the architecture as a craft of the medieval period. The craftspersons of Bidar were also known as for their inlay work in copper and silver, as you can see in this given picture. So the craftsmen of this period, especially in the medieval period, were highly skilled persons, in which we can include the Panchalas, which were also known as the Vishwakarmas communities, including them the goldsmiths, the bronzesmiths, the blacksmiths, the masons and the carpenter were some communities. Those were the perfect master in their work and also helped in the buildings of the temples. Here you can see few pictures through which you can see the art and the architecture, also the craft of the medieval period. Students, that time was also a golden era for textile industries. In the field of textile industries and other areas, the cotton, woolen and silk clothes had no comparison in the world if we will compare the work of the textile industry of India. So the textile industry of Indian textile was the best over the world. So students, it was a short history of the medieval period, in which we have seen the temple towns and how the small towns were influenced by the temple towns. We were also introduced with the different type of trades and the traders. In our next video, we will see a closer look in which we will see these topics which we have discussed in our last video and this video, a closer look of these works in our next video with a closer look of Hampi and the nearby areas. Students, here I am providing you few keywords, and these keywords are as follows. Number 1, trading town. Towns which were centers of trade and commerce were known as the trading town. Number 2, the pilgrimage centers. Religious place where people go for pilgrimage were known as the pilgrimage centers. Number 3, the administrative centers. The centers where the rulers of medieval period held their court grew rapidly and were known as the administrative centers. Commercial towns. Trade centers, craft centers and port cities were developed as the commercial towns. Number 5, emporium. A place where goods from diverse production centers are bought and sold. Number 6, hundi. It is a note recording a deposit made by a person. The amount deposited can be claimed in another place by presenting the record of the deposits. Next is factor. Official in charge of trading activities of the European trading companies is known as factors. So students, here our today's video is complete. Hope you understood today's topic. We will back with a new video related to this topic in our next video. So for that, keep watching SST Zone.